Hey guys, the second game in Aotearoa Week 5 is the Chiefs versus the Blues. Both teams had a bit of mixed emotions last week. The Chiefs getting their first win after a long losing streak against the Hurricanes. They beat them by 6 points, but from that they got 3 injuries to their starting side. So mixed emotions, like I said. The Blues, they are 2 from 3 so far this season. Last week that was their first loss so far, and that was to the Crusaders by 16 points. They have a 6-day turnaround for this game, and that means they had less time to prepare for a Chiefs that are probably in good emotions at the moment, really flying high at the moment. Getting into the two teams, there's just a couple of changes, 3 changes to both starting teams. At the front rows, no changes for either side, with Aiden Ross and Ta'avao, the two props for the Chiefs. Cagyhorn being the hooker for the Chiefs this weekend around, and he had a good weekend last time around. Laulala and Hodgman, they continue for the Blues. They've been starting quite well for the team, scrumming quite well last week around as well against the Crusaders. Tulai continues as the hooker for the Blues after Eklund got that bit of a suspension after last week as well, coming off of the bench. Tupeluto, he's the captain for the Blues. For now, comes in for the Chiefs in this weekend because Vai is, I think he has a concussion or something like that this week. Akoi, he's been in brilliant form this week. I love seeing how he runs with the ball in one hand, gets a couple of pops through two players next to him as well. He's up against Josh Goodyew. He's also finding his form since returning from injury. Akira Ioane versus Mitchell Brown. That's a big battle. Akira Ioane, he's in good form, but not as good as some of the other loose forwards maybe in New Zealand at this stage. Sam Kane at number 7 versus Papali'i. Big battle at breakdown time. Papali'i hasn't played a lot of rugby so far this season, so he will want to do his thing against the All Blacks captain. Then we get Luke Jacobson at number 8 versus Sotutu. Big battle at number 8 because Sotutu is a guy that is known as a number 8 for New Zealand, but you have Luke Jacobson that has kind of changed his position this season, and they are talking as him as a future number 8 for the All Blacks. So really want to see how these guys go up against each other. Then two very similar types of number 9s in the shape of Brad Weber and Finlay Christie. Christie getting his first start this weekend because he was on the bench last week around. Brad Weber, being the co-captain as well for this Chiefs side, had a good game last week. Trask at number 10 versus Otere Black. Otere Black, he's been managing the Blues side very well this season so far. Last week the backline was a little bit under firing against the Crusaders. Tupeya at number 12 for the Chiefs versus Harry Plummer. Rico Ioane versus Anton Linder-Brown. Again, it is two All Blacks number 13s. Rico Ioane hasn't really played a lot of 13 for the All Blacks, but he is trying to show what he can do in that position, to say that he is actually a number 13, not just a winger playing out of position. Then we get to the wings. There's a lot of changes over there, with Sean Stevenson coming in at number 14 for the Chiefs and Wainui coming in at number 11 for the Chiefs, because both of their wingers did pick up injuries. I think one of them is sick. Wainui playing his 50th game, so a big match for him. Caleb Clark at number 11, we know what he can do, just run over players anytime he can. Talia, he's elusive. He comes back into the matchup again after missing 1 or 2 games in a row now. Perafita at number 15 versus Damien McKenzie. Interesting enough that Damien McKenzie is starting at 15. There was a couple of calls of him going back to number 10. We know what he can do on counter attack, but a lot of the good stuff that the Chiefs did last week was when D-Mac was at number 10 and Tia was at number 15. There was just brilliant things happening last week when they did move like that. Getting to the two benches, there's a couple of changes, 2 changes for both teams as well. They both have changes to the front rows coming on. Bradley Slater versus Apisai, Norris and O'Neill is the front row for the Chiefs, with a very strong front row for the Blues with Tuini Kwafe, and now Tuungafasi playing his 100th game this weekend. It's going to be a big one for him. Sad that he isn't getting a start, but sometimes that's the nature of the game. There's a big name coming back from injury for the Chiefs with Suokula. We know what a good form he was in last year from the number 8 jersey. Tuhuri Orangi, he's a number 9 to look out for. And then, like I said a bit earlier with Chase Tiatia, how well he played from the bench last week. He played a big chunk of last week's game, and I think he was one of those micro differences between the Chiefs and the Hurricanes. He just sniffed out a couple of gaps, made very good offloads as well. For the Blues, guys to look out for is a guy like Tom Robinson, still very quiet at this stage of the season. Usually we know a little bit more of him now. We see a bit more of him as well. Ruru, he's on the bench this week, and then TJ Fayane also finding himself in the 23 jersey. Guys, having to make a prediction here, you have to remember that the Blues had a short turnaround. Also, their first loss last week. The Chiefs' first win last week. They will be flying high and will be happy with that one. They also had a 7-day turnaround. For me, I do think the Blues are the favourites here. They are supposed to win this one, being the guys that are supposed to be challenging the Crusaders. After losing last week's game, they will want to win, get back to winning ways. I say the Blues to win this one by 7 points. Let me know your prediction down in the comments below. Also, check out these videos next to me. Hit the subscribe button if you do like the channel. And then I'll see you for the next one. Cheers.